Seems to be on. There we go. Good afternoon. Thank you all very much. Very exciting day. I can just feel the excitement in the audience there. This is a big deal. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm Kurt Graham. I'm the director of the Truman Presidential Library and Museum, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you here today to the Truman Library for a very important and historic occasion. And we love to, we're in the history business, so we love to have these historic events take place here, and it's going to be a wonderful program. I'm fairly new to to this job and to the Kansas City area, so I don't know all of the famous former baseball players and things that have played in this city, but nevertheless, I've been getting acquainted a little bit, and it's a wonderful place filled with wonderful people, and I think this occasion is going to be grand in that regard. The deputy director here, Amy Williams, said something to me before I came out. She said, "Do you know what you and Frank White have in common?" And I said, "Well, I can think of a lot of things, actually." And I was expecting a few adjectives to roll forth, and she said, "No, this is your first state of the county, and it is his first state of the county." So we will share that moment together, and I'm grateful for that. As I mentioned, I don't necessarily know a lot about baseball, but I do know a lot about politics and political history, and have been a fan and a student of that for some years. And I think it's very significant that Mr. White is here today in a position that basically the same position that Harry Truman held in his day. It was called a different title in those days, but nevertheless, it's the same function. And so I think it's very appropriate that we would celebrate and hear from him here in Mr. Truman's library, the very stage where Mr. Truman did some very exciting things, all the way from welcoming school children into this very auditorium and speaking to them about the civics lessons, about the government, to watching President Johnson sign the Medicare and Medicaid Act here just a little over 50 years ago. Some great things have gone on here, and that history continues. I just would say one more thing in a political, historical vein. I was thinking about Mr. White and the role that he finds himself now in, really a new career that he's launching into. And you know, I remember in studying the early republic, when George Washington was asked to come and preside over the Constitutional Convention, he was very hesitant. He did not want to do that, to get involved in politics in that way, because he was famous, you know, from winning the war, from being this great general, and he had this great reputation based on his success in that career. And I thought, you know, he had so much to lose by going into the political realm. He risked a great deal, because if that convention had been a flop, then Washington, whose fame was based on having walked away from all of that, would have been sullied in some way. And I think, you know, when you take someone like we have here today, who has a great fame and a great reputation from another career, and is willing to put himself forward and put himself out there in the public, I have a great admiration for that. I really have a lot of respect for that, because there is a lot to lose when you're used to being somebody that everybody likes, to have to be somebody who has to make tough decisions. So I think in that sense there's a great American tradition that is being followed here. And I look forward to hearing from him and from the rest of the program. The program is going to go as follows. We'll have the presentation of the colors by the Jackson County Sheriff's Office Honor Guard. And following the posting of the colors, the national anthem will be presented to us sung for us by Erna Faye White Bogus. And that will be followed by the invocation, which will be offered by Pastor John Modest Miles. Gentlemen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Forward, march!
Let us bow our heads. Lord, for you are good. Your faithful love endures forever. Lord, help our cry in the time of distress, for we know you can lead us straight to safety, a county where we can have peace, joy, and love. Lord, we praise you for your great love and for the wonderful things you've done for this county. Thank you as you lead Frank White through darkness and deep gloom that hinders success. Continue to give him the wisdom and the courage to make the right decisions, O God, and the strength to endure whatever consequences may be attended upon him. Continue, O God, to look from the windows of heaven, that he may hold a firm grasp upon reality of thy presence and a greater assurance of thy loving care. Let him know the reward of faith and obedience is always clear and understanding. When troubled waters are too many, say, peace be still. You we pray. Amen.
Hi, Shelley. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Frank White III. I'd like to thank you all for coming here today. Hope you all enjoy the program and have a good time. Before I get started, I was asked by the folks in the back to make sure you all turn your cell phones off and no pictures of me. Those aren't free. All right. When I was asked by my father to introduce him today, I was stunned. I was shocked. He could have asked anyone, people more eloquent than myself, Pastor Miles, elected officials, business leaders, but he chose me. For that, I'm deeply honored and humbled by the request. I wasn't sure when talking to Ange about what we should talk about today, if I should open with a joke or a really, really deep quote. But I just decided I was going to talk about the man I've known and loved all my life, my father, my first hero, Frank White Jr. The name Frank White, man, it can be a heavy burden sometimes. But I've tried to live up to that name the best that I could to honor both my father and my grandfather, Frank White Sr., who's not with us today, but Big Daddy is here in spirit. By being sure they can always take pride in their namesake, We all share some common traits. Always strive to do your best. Never assume that you've made it and that you're always a work in progress. It was that attitude that helped my father beat the odds as an undrafted player and make it to the major leagues. But not only make it, but excel for over 18 years. I was around a year old or so when he signed with the Royals, so I've literally grown up in baseball and have had the privilege of sharing that journey with him. He obviously loved the game, had a great career, and he made his hometown quite proud. I've actually spoken about him to someone every day, friends, strangers, associates, as long as I can remember, and I've never heard a bad word said about him, which is a testament to his impact on Kansas City. But I can tell you, I've never seen him as enthusiastic about any job as the one he has right now. He obviously enjoyed being a member of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Club, championships, Gold Gloves, All-Star games, and all that stuff. But he realized being Jackson County executive is a much bigger job. He's always welcomed every opportunity to give back to his community, and he is seizing this one with both hands. He knows this isn't like baseball. You play the game 2-3 hours a day, spring, summer, hopefully the fall. And we've been fortunate these last 2 Octobers to have fall baseball. But he knows being county executive is a 24/7 opportunity and responsibility with the chance to impact people's lives on a daily basis. So before he steps out as he concludes his first month as Jackson County executive, let's take a short look at many of the other firsts in the life of my father and still my hero, Frank White Jr.
The stretch by Andujar, the pitch to Frank. There's a drive to deep left field. Back goes Tito Landrum. Home run. And the Royals have a 4-0 lead, and there is the first home run of the 1985 World Series, and Frank White got all over one that time, and there was no doubt about it.
Frank White Jr. is literally Jackson County's hometown hero. Growing up in the shadow of Old Municipal Stadium in downtown Kansas City, at 19 he was chosen for the inaugural class of the Royals Baseball Academy. Frank became the Academy's first graduate to reach the major leagues in 1973, beginning a career defined by historic firsts. Frank White Jr. went on to earn 8 Gold Gloves during his career, tying the Major League Baseball record for second baseman. Nicknamed Smooth for his seemingly effortless fielding, Frank had a way of making it all look easy. In truth, his hard work and tireless practice got him to the top level of the game for over 17 years, playing 5 times as an All-Star and 7 times into the postseason. Frank White Jr.'s entire career was as a Kansas City Royal. His loyalty and professionalism earned him the love and admiration of generations of Jackson County residents. His signature number 20 was retired when he was inducted into the Royals Hall of Fame. Frank continued to work hard after baseball, and along with his wife Teresa, became even more involved with family and community, giving back by assisting organizations including the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Kansas City, and the Child Abuse Prevention Association. Wherever he went, whether they were young, old, black, white, male, or female, Frank White Jr. made an impression with his genuine interest and compassion for all people. Encouraged by friends and family, Frank decided to enter into life as a public servant by running for the Jackson County Legislature and was elected from the 1st District at large in 2014. He dove into his new role by chairing the Land Use Committee and serving on the committees for Budget, Health and Environment, and Public Works, learning about county government while keeping the needs of constituents as his priority. In 2016, when the need arose, Frank White Jr. decided to commit to his biggest challenge yet, becoming Jackson County executive and making history once again as the first African-American man to hold the office once held by Harry Truman as presiding judge. In his swearing in, Frank made it clear how he plans to lead.
I always said that opportunity plus hard work equals success. Now let's go make things happen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it very much. You know, every time I hear my sister sing, it gives me chill bumps, and it just gets me so excited right before I'm to speak. I like to thank Frank for this kind introduction. You know, it's really rare for a father to have the opportunity to be introduced by his son. And that was really nice. Thank you. I am blessed to be a father and a grandfather, a great-grandfather, and a husband to a wonderful woman. I would not be standing here before you today without my wife Teresa's support. She will be a great First Lady for Jackson County. Thank you. Yeah. Welcome, everyone. Today, I feel like a rookie again. As you saw, my career has been built on many firsts, but I've never experienced a first quite like this. Often, it's all about the journey. Jackson County has come a long way. In the early 1800s, slaves built our first courthouse. Today, I proudly stand here as the first African American to hold a position of Jackson County Executive. But I'm not the only person here today who has experienced a first. I would like to turn the spotlight to the first woman to be chair of the Jackson County Legislature, Crystal Williams. Crystal, will you please stand? Okay. Thank you. And while I'm mentioning strong women, it is a privilege to have Dutch Newman in the audience. Dutch has been a role model for anyone who is politically active in Jackson County, and I appreciate her taking the time to be here today. Thank you, Dutch.
I would miss it.
I'd like to thank our friends at the Harry Truman Library and Museum for so graciously allowing us to use this iconic setting. There's no one more historic in Jackson County than our 33rd president. For me to have the opportunity to walk the halls that Harry Truman walked and to sit in the office he occupied will always be an inspiration. It is my honor to present the state of the county in this building. When I was sworn in a month ago, I was frequently asked, what is your top priority? My answer is simple: people. I want to improve the quality of life for people in Jackson County, in every part of the county, and to make sure that our county government is truly of the people, by the people, and for the people. For some, county government is merely an afterthought. Many don't even understand what we do. A few still remember the days of old-time political battles, On the other hand, some don't even realize that Kansas City is part of county. Interesting. In order to change that, we must govern in a way where all our residents feel well represented. We need to educate our people. We need to listen to our people. We need to inform our people. And we need to respond to people. Whether you work in Grain Valley or the old Northeast neighborhoods, whether you attend schools in Lee Summit or the Center School District, whether you live in Long Jack or the Key Coalition neighborhood of Kansas City, you deserve the best from our county government. We need to be there for you. We need to be accessible. We need to continue to be public servants, always ready and willing to help. Under my leadership, Jackson County will be laser focused on people. Imagine a county government that makes decisions based on how it affects the average worker. Think about a county government that's transparent to all our residents. Consider a county government that judges success on how their projects affect the lives of its citizens. This is my vision. To get it done, I will need your help. First and foremost, I'll need help from everyone who works for Jackson County. I don't see them as employees. I see them as associates. The difference is that employees are focused on getting a paycheck, while associates buy into the goals of the organization and get things done. When our associates have great ideas, I want to hear those ideas. Together, we can make county government that much more effective. For example, take Pat McCormick. Pat is our 2015 Employee of the Year. He works for our Parks Plus Rec department as an equipment operator. When Pat noticed that many of the park's small machines, leaf blowers, weed eaters, chainsaws, were piling up waiting to be repaired, he organized a team to get it done. In the past, those machines might have gone to the surplus pile. But Pat's willingness to step up and manage a new project saved the department and the taxpayers a lot of money. Pat, would you please stand? This is it. Second, we need our regional partners, many of whom are here today. In today's economy and in today's political climate, no government can act in isolation. Rather, we need the help of many of our partners, including our state and federal governments, other counties in the region, and the cities, big and small, in Jackson County. One of my favorite leaders, Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, once said, "There's more power in unity than division." Jackson County has often taken the lead to promote unity, and we can do even more. It is because of partnerships with the Mid-America Regional Council, Core 4, the Eastern Jackson County Betterment Council, and other similar groups that we have been able to share knowledge, combine talents, and save tax dollars. Our partnership with Kansas City and the Kansas City Police Department to run a joint correctional facility has saved both the city and the county millions of dollars. Our partnership with Cass, Platte, and Clay County to provide medical examiner services has created a model medical examiner's office whose excellence is recognized nationally. And our unique partnership with the Kansas City Area Transportation Authority on the Rock Island Corridor has set the stage for an exciting future for the expansion of new trails, new modes of transportation, and for economic development in the region. We will continue to seek partnerships that benefit all our citizens. to every mayor, city official, and our other partners that are here today, thank you for giving your support to Jackson County and our residents. Thank you. Jackson County is well known for its trailblazing spirit. Perhaps the most defining moments in our history came as pioneers made their way to independence and continued west on one of three famous trails, the Santa Fe, the California, and the Oregon. When I was with the legislature, I was at a meeting here in Independence last January, and I noticed a school. And on the school, the name was Young Elementary School. And I really didn't know who that was, so I decided to investigate it a little bit. And after my exhaustive investigation of who Young was, I couldn't find out that it was a man named Hiram Young who helped many of those pioneers make their journeys possible. Young started life as a slave in Hawkins County, Tennessee. He was purchased by a man from Lafayette County and came to Missouri as a young married man. Hiram had a vision for his future. He wanted to be free. So working hard, he purchased his wife out of slavery so that their children would be born free. Then he purchased his own freedom. So once he was freed, Young started a business building wagons. He built a shop just 3 blocks down what is now 24 Highway, and he prospered. In 1860, Young employed 25 men, many of whom were working their way to freedom, just as he had. Records show that they built over 300 wagons and over 6,000 ox yokes that year. Some sources say he was one of the richest men in Jackson County. Hiram Young had an unbreakable will to succeed. One part of the Thomas Hart Benton mural you saw when you walked in today depicts Hiram Young's contribution to Jackson County's trailblazing spirit. And just a little over a mile from here is the former Young Elementary School. It was built in 1934 to honor one of Jackson County's most remarkable and important citizens. Hiram Young knew at a young age that he had to take a stand to be successful. One of my heroes, Jackie Robinson, knew that too. He said, "Life is not a spectator sport. If you're going to spend your whole life in the grandstand just watching what goes on, in my opinion, you're wasting your life." Like me, many of you in this room have left the grandstands with the goal of making a difference. As elected officials, as community leaders, or as engaged citizens, we do make a difference. Jackson County is blessed to have 2 strong county leaders, like Sheriff Mike Sharp and Prosecutor Jane Peters Baker. We have made a difference, but we still have a long way to go. Too many of our residents experience forms of discrimination. We see it in housing, we see it in employment, and we even see it in the criminal justice system. We need to take a stand against discrimination of every type. Too many of our sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, are dying needlessly before they can make a difference. We need to take a stand against violence and against all crimes. Too many of our residents still struggle to find a job or to be paid a living wage when they find one. We need to take a stand against poverty. We need to stay on the playing field. We need to recruit more leaders who will come out of the grandstands to help us. In this year's State of the Union, President Barack Obama encouraged us to act. And his message was to vote, to speak out, to stand up for others, especially the weak, especially the vulnerable, knowing that each of us is only here because somebody stood up for us. Jackson County government must be committed to taking a stand and backing that up with our words and our deeds. If we do that, our citizens will follow. I was blessed to work under one of the greatest entrepreneurs and philanthropists. And it was that entrepreneurship that allows me to be able to stand here before you today. It was that entrepreneurship that allowed him to see the value in starting a baseball academy. And once that was started, it gave me an opportunity to play baseball in my hometown. And that gentleman was Ewing Kaufman. Ewing Kaufman was known not only as a brilliant businessman, but as someone who was willing to lend a hand. Mr. Kaufman once said, "I think the greatest satisfaction in helping others is doing something that either inspires them or aids them to develop themselves, so they're not only be a better person, but be a better productive citizen of the United States." Jackson County has done its part to help others. Each year, we fund dozens of agencies whose main goal is to lend a hand to those in need. In the 2016 budget, Jackson County legislators appropriated over $3.5 million in funding for those agencies. They should be recognized for their efforts. So will members of the legislature please stand? Thank you. We are right on track, but we can do more. For every person we help find a job, for every family we help survive a tough winter, for every homeless veteran we help retrain, for every child we help with medical care, and for every teenager we dissuade from a life of drugs or crime, we gain better, productive citizens of Jackson County. It is our responsibility as good stewards of the county to improve lives and create opportunities. Let me be clear. Your Jackson County government can only make a positive difference if we are financially strong ourselves. The good news is that sound financial decisions, good management, and wise choices have left us in better shape than many other governments across this nation. Much of that success can directly be attributed to the diligence and hard work of former county executive Mike Sanders. Mike's focus on financial responsibility allowed the county not only to be fiscally sound, but also to work on major projects like the renovation of the historic Truman Courthouse and the Eastern Jackson County Courthouse. The combined result is that county associates can better serve residents, and our courts will be able to hear cases more quickly. As both prosecutor and county executive, Mike's service to Jackson County is very much appreciated. Mike? Now Jackson County is poised to move forward, ready to build on that strong foundation. We need to continue to focus on what is tried and true, what is best for the long haul and not for the short term. We will be bold, but prudent. To use a baseball analogy, because I think that's expected of me sometimes, we won't just swing for the fences. We will advance the runner, and as the Royals would say, we will keep the line moving. In short, Jackson County must do well what the county is supposed to do well. We must continue to place emphasis on those services which are at the core of county government. The residents of Jackson County deserve nothing less. That effort starts with making sure that we have the best trained and best paid associates who are excited to do their jobs. Public service is a high honor, but it is often a difficult job. As county executive, I will continue to fight for better wages, better benefits, and more opportunities for advancement for our associates. Jackson County provides a lot of services for our residents. We assess taxes, We assess property, we collect taxes, we manage the jail, we provide license and deeds, we maintain roads and bridges. We need to continue to improve our performance in all those areas, and we will. I started today by talking about first. It is said that first impressions matter, and they do. The place where many of our residents get their first impression of Jackson County is in one of our parks. I have heard them described as the crown jewel of Jackson County. We manage the third largest county park system in the United States. 3 lakes, over 100 miles of trails, campgrounds, a public golf course, several historic sites, pocket parks located throughout Kansas City, and even some ball fields named after a former Ross player. In other words, our parks offer something for every county resident to enjoy. Our Parks Plus Recs events are some of the biggest in the region. Our 4th of July events draws tens of thousands of people. Christmas in the park is a regional attraction. People come to visit Fort Osage and Missouritown 1855 for their historic festivals. My point is that our parks can tie us together as a county. Our parks can be our unity. Many of you know that I love to fish. Growing up in Kansas City, fishing was one of my favorite pastimes. But my family would never have thought of going to Lake Tacoma. The city and the county were like 2 different worlds, separated just not by geography, but by attitude. If I can accomplish one thing in my time as county executive, it would be to change that perception, to bring people who live in the western part of the county in Kansas City to the eastern part of the county, to encourage them to use our lakes and historic sites, and to bring people who live in the eastern part of our county, Oak Grove, Independence, Lee Summit, over to what Kansas City has to offer. Jackson County is rich in history, but it's also modern and forward-thinking, and it is a community. It is a place where people want to be. Today, I am ready to continue that journey. Call it my Jackson County journey. The journey you saw in my introduction was just the beginning. I am here today to encourage all county residents to take this new journey with me. Together, we can blaze some new trails and create some new history. One of our nation's ultimate trailblazers, former astronaut Jim Lovell, and you can only imagine Jim Lovell circling the moon and what that trailblazing experience had to be like. But Jim Lovell said, there are 3 kinds of people: those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that say, what happened? So join me and let's go make things happen in Jackson County. Thank you, and God bless you.